You want to get into the habit of saving every 15 or 30 minutes. The biggest difference between beginner Maya users and more advanced Maya users, I think, is that advanced users save a lot. I don't care how much you know, but if you're saving a lot, that means you know what you're doing. I've already saved this twice. Also, you want to remember to save it with save your progress. Don't just overwrite the same file. Just simply because you might do something wrong or the file might get damaged. And you can see here that I have Satan 1 and Satan 2, which is the file that I'm working on right now. So you just want to save often. I'm going to continue modeling the left side of my Satan's clothing. So edit, duplicate special, option box. I most of the time use the hotkey for this, but for some reason it's the recording is kicking in and it starts doing some weird stuff. But I'll just be going to the menu from now on. All my settings are saved from before, so let's apply. Grab this fur thing, apply. Grab the skull and apply. Not perfectly centered. Let's fix it. Get rid of this center pivot. I want to move my pivot right to the middle of the skull. And I want to center it so that when I duplicate, it's right in the center. I want to check out my image. And now that we have the body, let's start with the smaller shapes. Let's make the horns first. They're probably the biggest shape on the face. Again, edit mesh, create polygon tool, or mesh rather, create polygon tool. And I'll start here. Drag, drop. You want to try to keep the spacing of your vertex kind of evenly. Click, drag, click. Make a little bit of that curve. One of the things that you're going to notice on this particular picture is the outline. The actual South Park characters don't have this outline outside because they're supposed to be made out of paper, and you won't see this outline, I'm pretty sure. Duplicate. The next big shape is probably this beard. Create polygon tool. And this one I'm not gonna do half of it. I'm just gonna I'll build the entire thing all at once because it's not symmetrical. Let's zoom in a little bit. Let's move this out of the way. I'll leave it out because I'm probably going to use this for the eyes in a little bit. Making the beard as few clicks as possible. You can change some things, I guess, if you want to, but just trace it. Click, drag. Give it a little bit of that curvature. Click, drag, click. I want to see where it continues, so I hold my mouse button and then There you go. Delete this point. The reason why I'm moving it down here is because every time I move it down, I see where my outline is. So you're gonna see me do this. Like, I'm not gonna place a point right on top of the beard because I don't know where it is. So every time I make a vertex, I click, drag, see where my outline is, and then just place it. Click, drag, place. And you could draw these on the geometry and then animate the textures, but I think this is, for our purposes, modeling them is going to be a lot better, and you'll see why later on. Okay, I have my horns, I have the beard. The next big shape is probably the eyes. I wish there was a polygon circle or something. But maybe I can smooth a plane. Let's try that. Make a plane. And just to make the circle of the eyes, I want to try things to make my process as fast as possible. Smooth it. Smooth it one more time. That's not bad. Check this out. I got my quick eye rather than using my create polygon tool. You know what? It's probably gonna take me about the same amount of time, but anyways, oops. I'll rotate it a little bit. Scale it. And I'm gonna get rid of all the geometry that I have inside. I wanna grab all these edges because I'm not gonna use them. If you were making a 3D model, this would be useful, but it's going to be 2D, so there's no use on having all these extra polygons on the inside. Drag them and just backspace. There you go. Duplicate. I want to move my pivot. If I duplicate right now, what you're gonna see that the eye is gonna duplicate somewhere weird over there. So I want to freeze transformations and then center my pivot and duplicate. So modify, center pivot. You can see that I have Control P set as my center pivot hotkey. That's what I was doing before. So center pivot, modify. Also, you're gonna see that up here I have a lot of weird icons that you haven't seen. I've made custom icons. Like this is my custom freeze transformation icon. You can see it's a little bit of a ice that represents freeze for me. But modify freeze transformations. If you want to get it from the menu, you can too. Freeze transformations. I want to move my pivot to the middle of the grid, or to the middle of my Satan. Duplicate. Move it out. Like I said, it doesn't have to be symmetrical. I want to duplicate to make the eyeballs. Like I said, I'm using hotkeys sometimes, so I use my hotkey there, and an X shape is probably not the best way to model the eyeball or the iris on the eye. So I'll just make another plane and smooth it just like I made the eye. Make my polyplane, move it up. And let's smooth. get rid of that geometry on the inside. Front view, select edge, and I want to get rid of the geometry. Come on, it's overlapping each other. So let me move this a little bit back. Grab all this geometry. You don't have to, but I like my model to be nice and clean. Make it a lot smaller. I'm just try to match what I have on the picture. This one is not going to be an instance, so I want it to be a copy. And I want to move it. There it is. This eye also, I don't want it to be an instance. I want it to be its own shape. Apply. Move. I have the main shapes of the face. I want to go with the next shape, which is at this point you can go with any one of these other shapes, either the eyebrows, the nose, or the mouth. Let's continue from top to bottom, just so that we have a strategy. I'm going to get my create polygon tool, and I was able to find that rather quick this time. Make it. Later on, if you're missing points, you can add them, or let me just fix this a little bit. Remember, this South Park characters are made out of paper cutouts, so if they're a little bit rough, it's a good thing. Create the left eyebrow, and again using as few points as possible, keeping them even. I want to make the nose, and I'm not sure how deep into this eyes it goes, but seems to be somewhere around there. No, it seems to be just like a rectangle. I don't see any other shape there. And this V shape for the nose. Notice that I'm not too careful in where I place this vertex. Just because, like I said before, we're gonna see these models at a certain distance most of the time. There's rarely any close-ups, and even if there are close-ups later on, look at this. This is good enough. I don't think you'll ever go into this distance when you're making your animation, and if you do, it's okay. You can see that there's enough detail there. Let's make the mouth. I want those few clicks as possible. While still preserving my shape. There's the mouth. And I can't stress it enough the importance of having a strategy to work whenever you're modeling or drawing. Big to medium to small, and then details at the end. You see how quickly how quick this process works, or how fast this process works. Made the body for the big shapes. medium shapes, the arms and legs, and now we're gonna start working on the detail, which is all the small outline. We could draw it with Maya paint or paint on the geometry, but like I said before, the actual South Park characters are made out of paper cutouts, and I'm almost positive that these things are made out of some sort of paper cutout, so we're gonna draw them. And they seem to be kind of symmetrical, so we'll just do one side and then duplicate to the other side. If you want a nicer look, you can make them a little bit different on your own, but again, because of timer, because I want to make this kind of fast, I'm just gonna keep them the same. Just stretch my line as far as I can. And as I'm doing this, I wonder if I can just extrude this line to give it the depth that I need. And what you're noticing here is that I'm placing a point right next to every other point, well, almost right next to every other point, just because it's going to look better and it's a good geometry. Oh. And there's no point in having 5 points to make this curve when on this side when you only used one on the other side. So like I said, keep it kind of even. I messed up there a little bit, but I'll just fix this spike. Have it be like that. There you go. I don't want it to be a perfect line. I like it when it goes from thin to thick. Makes it look like you actually use scissors to cut this. This I'll make it by hand. Oh, well no, maybe I'll draw it in with a plane. Again, create polygon tool. Let's make this little T shape. Points. Like I said, if you're building this, you can. All I'm gonna do for this lesson is continue on with the details. So if you've already built your model, you can just skip to the next lesson, which is going to be texturing. I'm going as fast as I can. I think I could have duplicated this, but too late. Let's move on to his six-pack. He's got a 4-pack. Let's move on to his 4-pack. And again, the strategy is always the same. Just keep it simple. There you go. Just make the bottom of his 4-pack. Click, drag. and by this time you should have a pretty good idea where I'm going with this. The reason why I don't use the picture, because as you can see, I mean, it already looks like if the character, if when you place a picture there, and it almost looks like it's ready to animate, but we want to be able to move all these parts separate from each other. So this is why we're building each of these parts one by one rather than use the picture. Another thing that we can do is start using my cut polygon tool on the actual picture, and that would work to make my model too. There's different ways to approach it, but I think what we're doing here is probably the most effective, or what I found the one to be the most effective so far. If you have any suggestions or any ideas on how to approach this in a different or in a faster ways, let me know. That would be very nice. Click, drag, click. Probably don't need that. Keep it simple. I've already made this. I'm probably missing the belly button. I'll just make it just in case. It's not a perfect circle. It's just like a crazy little shape. And I think this might be the ribs. And like I said, since these are paper cutouts, we're not going to make the outlines for our character. You can if you want to. I'll have to check back on the original video. I'll duplicate this just to see if we need outlines. If we do need them, I'll add them. But I don't think we do. And again, I don't want this vertex to have for here and then way over here 2 more. I want to keep the spacing kind of evenly, so nice clean spacing. Probably should do that to this one too. This was not too bad. What else? Well, let's make the nipple. Make a circle by using a plane. So plane. Well, you know what? I can use the one that I use for the eye. I'll duplicate it, move it, scale it, squash it, stretch it, do whatever it takes to get it to look like your picture. There you go. And I'm going to extrude this in. Extrude. And backspace. And backspace one more time. And there's my nipple. Let's duplicate it to make the left side. I know that it's the on your screen this is the left side, but I'm referring it as the character's left side, so I know my left from my right. Also, when we start rigging this, this is going to be considered the left side. We always approach it, or as if it's a character's left or right side. And there it is. Let's duplicate all this stuff and I want them to be copies. I don't want these to be instances. The reasons why I do the instance on the base shapes is because I'm going to combine them later on, so the instance is going to disappear anyways. But on these, I want them to be a little bit different. So I'll do a copy. Make sure that my pivot is on the 0 of my x-axis, which it is. Apply. And you can see that it's not matching my picture. You can make it match, or you can leave it the same, it doesn't matter. Well, for my purposes, it doesn't really matter. Might be doing something different. I'll fix it. I like it when it's not even. That's what makes things more real. You want to give it a little bit of difference. It's good to have a little bit of chaos just in general whenever you're making a scene or a character, because that's what gives it a little bit more character. The way that you can tell things are made by computer is because they're always perfect. So you want to get away from that, I think. Apply. Center my pivot. Duplicate. Center pivot. Move it in. Stretch it out a little bit. And you can see that they're not even. That's good. I want to make the ribs on the left side of my character. I want to center my pivot so that sorry. I should probably save, because I said we would save every 15 minutes. So let's just move this. There you go. Again, it's not following my shape perfectly. But it's close enough. Come on, vertex. Move it. Move it. Move it. And I think I'm finished with the modeling. And I'm gonna stop this video now. I'm gonna go check the reference to see if I need to make the outlines. And we're gonna continue the next lesson on UV mapping and texturing.